Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Coalition. My name is Dana, and I'm here to talk to you really quickly about Creed 3. I have just seen the movie, and this is not going to be a review because that's still under embargo. But I really wanted to tell you about my immediate reaction after seeing this movie. This is the third movie in the Creed franchise, obviously. That's why it's called Creed 3. And this one I feel is a more of an emotional journey than the other movies. Now, I loved what I saw with Creed 1. Creed 2 was meh for me. Creed 3 has a lot of issues, but I will say this felt like a very personal story in terms of the weight that it carried within both Adonis and the Creed franchise. We're kind of winding down on Creed, the retirement kind, settling with the life that he has and the family that he has going forth with Thompson, whose character's name I can't remember at the very moment, but he's settling down and now he is facing a new foe. But this new foe is not someone who's like, oh, I want the belt just because I'm a boxer. This is more of a personal stake in terms of I know you from your past. We have this shared history together, and there was a certain point where our lives completely separated and I felt abandoned by you. And so I'm going to fight as hard as I can to make you understand the pain that you have caused me. And Jonathan Majors is exceptional when he is given a role that has weight and meat and depth to it, and I feel that he can bring out anything. If you literally was to say to me, I'm just going to watch a movie with Jonathan Majors standing next to a blank wall, I feel that he will be able to pull out all of the emotions that I have never known someone to pull out from just standing next to a blank wall. He is absolutely superb in this movie, and he plays Damian Dame Anderson. He is someone who has this mentality of a fighter, not just a fighter as in like boxing, but also in life. He was sentenced to a very long prison, and not a very long prison. He was sentenced to prison for a very long time, and that has kind of impacted his life, how he sees people, how he sees Adonis, how he views life in general. And this is, like I said, this is a 100% revenge movie. This is someone who is fighting with someone with pure hate and pure anger, and someone who just wants to see him destroyed. So it takes a completely different emotional turn as opposed to what we saw in Creed 2 and even in Creed 1, even though Creed 1 will always still be my favorite of the Creed franchises. Overall, I think that this will probably divide fans in terms of this is one of the best in ways to end a trilogy, and this being basically a Hallmark Channel movie. I am someone who falls in the middle. I felt that this had a lot of ability to be exceptional. You gave me a great structure, you gave me good bones, but certain things for me was not fully executed, and it left me kind of wanting more from it. I will say this. I seen this with a movie. I seen this with a movie. I seen this movie with 99% black people. And the reason why I bring up all with black people is simple. We are very lively, we're very animated when it comes to movies. We will clap, we will laugh right with you. When we get into it, we can really get into it. I have seen some terrible movies that made me have such a really great theatrical experience because the people in the theater, mainly black, were so animated and made this thing such a fun journey. And with this, I would say a majority of the time, people were dead silent. Silent. It was so silent that someone who even brought in their and the dog wasn't having it. The dog was half asleep the entire time. And just in general, like I said, I felt that they were really missed opportunities. And we will dive into that more when the embargo lifts. I do not have a date for that yet. But for me, it was an okay movie that wanted, that really left me wanting for more. it was possible. This is Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, and for someone who is just making their debut, he did a good job, but it left room for a lot more. Again, can't get into all the details, but this was a movie that just overall left me wanting for more. And Jonathan Majors, I will say, is the reason why you see this movie. He has had an exceptional year so far with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumanium as Kang. Ooh, he's incredible. That's embargoed. We can't talk about that much either. But Magazine Dreams, which was basically the easiest way to describe Magazine Dreams is, what if someone turned Eminem's Stand into a movie and made it about what do you call it? Fitness training or fitness, the bodybuilding. Sorry, I lost my words for there. But what if they made it about bodybuilding? And he, even with this movie, has a wonderful way of taking emotion and just bringing it all in his body, in his face, the way how he delivers his lines. He really understands a character. Even with Devotion, I was not a fan of Demotion. I thought that Devotion, I felt that that was a movie that belonged on, again, a Hallmark channel. But even with Devotion, he was able to pull out everything in that character, and I felt so much empathy and warmth and love from him that I wanted more. And with this one, he plays a character where empathy and warmth is not something you're going to get from him. You're going to get that hardened, natured person who has shut out the entire world. It's me against the world, and someone who literally will fight for survival. And with that mentality, it really questions how Adonis moves, because how do you beat someone who his entire life is fighting, and not just fighting within the rules? He is someone who breaks the rules in order to survive. So really great ideas, really great concepts that for me could have been executed a little bit better. But again, embargo, can't talk about much of everything. But this was it was something. Um so that's all I can say. Have a great afternoon, evening, morning, whatever time you're watching this. And I'll come back later with a full review. Thank you.